Aloha, I'm Anthony,
Hi, I'm Emily.
and we are Neon Mystics.
All right, so we are here today because one of Anthony's videos is going viral right now on social media, talking about a story of when we went to Joshua Tree and experienced some UFOs, some explosions, etc. And this video currently has over 500 comments of people asking questions, follow-up things, details, things like that. So we are here to answer those questions.
Yeah.
So I think first and foremost, the most pressing question is this guy still alive?
I'm here. I'm alive. We
Good.
made it to the next day.
Check.
So I think, I don't know why people were like, is this guy even alive? After I made the video, then posted the video, of course I'm alive.
Right. And you
How
had
else
even
would you
said
have
this
got the
story is from a couple years ago.
Yes. So common sense would have led you to that answer.
There you go.
There you go.
And have you had any government intervention since seeing this experience? Did they follow up and ask you any questions, things like that?
No, they haven't. To a lot of your surprise, no, I have not been tracked down by the government. No secret agency has come after me, asked me questions. I've not been questioned anyway. I'm not being surveilled. And if we are being surveilled, it's just the general public is being surveilled by the government. It has nothing to do with what I've seen and witnessed. I'm not special. It's just, I was there at a moment, witnessed it, and then I went on along with my life.
Yeah.
As well as you and the two others. Have you been surveilled?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, no intervention.
There you go.
So basically what happened? What was your story? What was this video about? What was our trip experience? Just give us a little summary.
What happened? Okay. Well, there was a group of us. It was Emily, Alexis, Long, and I. We wanted to go experience a full moon in a desert. And that's something that's very, very common out there. People go to Joshua Tree to go, see the full moon, see the Milky Way, see the stars. People go to Joshua Tree for nighttime.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they don't go during the, they did. Yeah, the people do go during the day to go see, sightsee the park. But space is remarkable out there, everything about it. So if you ever want to go explore, go do that out there. Go to a desert and go watch the full moon. So that's what we were doing. We ended up bringing some marijuana, a couple beers. I think it was Blue Moon or something like that. And then we also brought some magic mushrooms in the form of chocolate magic mushrooms. Very low dosage, but we wanted to, get loose, be a little whimsical at night, So we chill. I know that Long, he was completely sober. He didn't want to be inebriated in any way. That's just who he is, and that's perfectly fine. We were, Alexis, Emily, and I, and we weren't stupid. We were just having a good time, as if how we're having a conversation right now is how casual the night was. There was no oh my God, I'm seeing crazy. It wasn't like that. It was just chill. So I believe Alexis, her attention was drawn towards looking at this mountain range in a backyard. And I think there was a cloud in the sky or something like that.
Yeah.
It was very odd.
First, I don't know, weird thing.
It was just a singular cloud
Yeah.
without any other clouds. And I believe it was a thunderhead cloud, which produces water. And in that instance, it was kind of odd, it seemed like, But, we didn't really think too much of it. We just chilled in an area facing towards that direction. Long went inside the house because I believe his stomach wasn't feeling too good or something like that. So he just wanted to lay down for a little bit. So we're chilling outside, and Alexis and Emily are facing towards the mountain range. I'm facing the other way, looking at the moon. And there's an explosion. Some loud explosion. Yeah. I physically heard the explosion. They saw it and heard it.
Yeah.
What did it look
just literally an explosion, a blast site. And we were thinking this is crazy. It's nighttime. And is the police gonna come? Is there gonna be sirens? Fire department? This was a huge explosion on a mountain. We were this is holy crap, I can't believe we just saw this type of thing. And then there wasn't any sirens. There wasn't anybody going to check it out.
And it was actually, to give you guys a timetable, whenever we were outside looking, it was like 11 at night. And I think I would say when the explosion happened was maybe like 12:45, 12:30 to like 1 o'clock-ish is when that transpired. Well, from that point on, let's say this is the mountain, okay? The mountain range was about 30 miles away from where we were, okay? We looked on the map and we actually drove out there to see. It was very far from us. So if this is the mountain, this is where the explosion transpires right here. Out of this hole, this new hole, beings of fire and brimstone proceeded to exit out of that hole. And I believe there was about 4 to 5 of them. Now I say beings because they looked very humanoid in a sense. They had arms, they had bodies, legs, a head, looked like a human body. But it was covered in fire, brimstone. It looked like this reddish, orange, yellow light was emitting from the center of their chest or their being themselves, and they were illuminating. They had some pretty remarkable abilities. If you consider how tall the mountain ranges are, I believe that mountain range was like, I think it's 1,000 feet in elevation, or like maybe a little bit under that. It's pretty tall. That is very tall. And if you consider the fact that whenever they exited the initial hole, they were jumping from peak to peak on the thing with one leap. So they were doing some pretty remarkable things. And the initial, initially when we saw that, we were terrified. There was no wow, this is amazing. No, it was
terrifying.
What is happening right now? What are we witnessing? Whoa. The gut feeling. So that proceeded to happen for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes when we noticed that the constellation that was above that mountain range, which is the Summer's Triangle, proceeded to descend, left its position in the sky. It was completely a constellation, regular stars, and the way that we understand stars, that this is just not possible. I'm not a flat earther. I don't believe in any of that nonsense.
Because for the hours before,
it was a regular night sky
constellation, and we were watching the stars and everything, and then we literally watched it come down, and we were like, and then there was nothing in that like spot, so it wasn't even like it was those stars. Or
so by this time, Long came out of the house because he can hear us like, what's going on? Like, we're freaking out. Well, remember, Long is sober. Long witnessed everything that we witnessed in that moment. Yeah. Saw it. And he was even more terrified than we were.
Yeah. Oh my God. He was
scared.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. I was terrified too. Well, an interesting thing happened is that those stars placed themselves in between us and those beings, and they proceeded to battle all night long. There was moments where it seemed like the stars were shooting red laser beams, like pew pew laser beams, like from Star Wars. Yeah. Very much like, are we actually seeing this right now? So we're like questioning Long, like, are you seeing this, Long? And Long's like, yeah. What is going on? So we get into like fight or flight. Obviously, you're not going to be able to fight beings that are shooting lasers, or any of that. So we were scared. We went into flight response, went inside the house and tried to figure out ways to, like, I don't know, board up the doors and stuff like that. So
how are we going to protect ourselves?
Yeah, we were thinking very, very irrationally in that moment because of what we had witnessed. So we come to the moment and we're like, what are we doing? This thing is, each time they collide, these, like a fire being and the star would collide, or a star would collide, there would be like a big explosion or like a burst of impact. And you would feel the wind would be coming towards you from the direction. We're talking about 30 miles away. To be able to create a gust of wind with such impact like that, it was pretty crazy because all of the palm trees in the front yard and in the backyard and around the neighbors' houses, as well as the neighbor's closet and stuff like that, were going crazy. They were blowing over almost to a point that they were dying.
Yeah, no, literally. The neighbors.
Not dying. That's not like a stupid description, but like they were going to fall. The trees were going to fall over.
Yeah. What I'm saying? Well, the neighbor's door was like going back and forth too. Like it was like a powerful wind. Like your hair was going back. And if you know
palm trees are resilient to wind movement. So the fact that they were like bending down, I was like, what the heck?
And then like as soon as it like passed us, then it was just nothingness until like another, I don't know, like laser beam or whatever shot between these two, and then again a gust, and then nothing.
So that proceeded all night long. Other parts happened in that night, and just to sum up the story, you know what I'm saying, just to make it quicker so we can get to the questions. Alexis and I went outside at a point after we were inside, and we wanted to see if it was like safe, which is stupid. It was not safe.
Yeah.
Not safe by any means.
It had only been, a little bit of time.
Yeah, so
trying to see if everything cleared out.
Everything cleared out. No, it did not. So we go outside, and our neighbor, so the way that the main street right here is the Utah Trail in 29 Palms. So if you want to find out where we were staying, go to the Utah Trail in 29 Palms. There's only like 5 houses or maybe like 10 houses max on that street. It's like 3 blocks, very small. Well, the main street is Utah Trail right here, and across the street were like 3 different houses on that block. And in the first house on that block, there was a man and his dogs. He was outside. We couldn't see him. We can hear him. There was commotion actually. What was happening is, or what we had heard, the old man was yelling at something. He had like 4 or 5 dogs. He had a lot of dogs. And they were large, like hound dogs. You can hear the way that they sounded when they barked. It wasn't like a small dog, a yapper. They were onto something. Like they were literally, I don't know, I felt like they were hunting something down, like in the backyard, or something had come into their area and they were defending. You could hear the old man cock his shotgun and then shoot the shot. And he's screaming like, yeah, like that, screaming, shoots the gun. The dogs are barking. And while the sound is coming out of the gun, coming out of the mouth and coming out of the dog's, snoots, the sound mutes completely. And it's almost like it's absorbed into nothingness. And the sound in general went out. There was no crickets. The wind wasn't rustling anymore.
Yeah.
All these sounds that you hear in the desert at night went away for at least 2 to 3 seconds. It was just complete silence. Yeah. So we're freaking out. Alexis and I are like, what the heck? We go back inside the house and we notice on the Utah Trail, out of nowhere, 3 or 4 black Suburbans that are blacked out completely, rims and everything, started slow rolling through the neighborhood. And they were creeping around like 2 to 3 miles per hour. And mind you, at this time, it's probably like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
It's really late. I would understand if it was one vehicle, like somebody's out there just, lurking to see what's going on in the night sky and stuff like that. There are a lot of people who are looking for, stupid shit. They're looking for skinwalkers. So it was not that. There were like 3 to 4 of them, maybe even 5. I could be wrong. But there was a group, and they were moving very slowly and rustling around that neighborhood block for about an hour straight, which is how. It like literally, like drive around your block in your cul-de-sac for an hour and tell me like that's entertaining. There's no way.
Yeah.
So that happened. We were inside, and we just decided, all of us were just gonna, go to bed and just hope that we don't die, and then wake up in the morning and go get supplies. So that's what we did. The next day, we woke up and went to go grab supplies as many things as we can, because we didn't know what we were going to have to, what was going to happen. We had no idea. We thought it was the end of the world. So the next day, we get to nighttime, and around the same exact time, the story continues. It proceeds again. The things come out of the mountain. There was no explosion this time.
Yeah.
They came out of the hole that they had created, and the stars came down, and they proceeded to do their little battle.
Yeah.
For that night until the sun came up, and then it happened again the next night. Those 2 nights after the first night, all of us were sober. We were ready for this shit to come to us so that we, could escape and find a way back to civilization, because we were in Joshua Tree. We lived in Los Angeles. All our stuff is in LA, and we were trying to decide at this point, are we going to go to LA to deal with this alien invasion in LA, or are we going to stay out here?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of mindset that we were in. Okay. So yeah, that's a little summary of what happened.
Yeah. Literally. Great. This is crazy.
It's crazy when you hear it.
So I would say probably the most asked question on this video was, you witnessed all of that the first night for, you know, hours and hours and hours, and then again on the second and third night. So there was 4 people. How was there no footage? Did you not have your phone? Did you not record it? What's up?
Okay. I did try to record it. And this was my main priority, was trying to record this event. I can tell you, if you've ever tried to record anything at night, it's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
We don't, on cell phones, we didn't have a professional camera, a 4K camera, like everybody now and their mother has that because of social media. At that point in history, I did not give a shit about social media. We didn't care about that. We were just living our lives like regular people.
Yeah.
And I don't think most humans cared about social media in a sense. So like, what I'm trying to say is now we have access to high, you know, very good high quality cameras that could potentially film at night. Back then, on my piece of shit phone, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And also 30 miles away. Like, you're zooming and you know that it gets blurry and pixelated so easily.
Yeah. So it's simple. Like, go outside, and if you have a mountain range that your city shares at night, try to videotape anything that's happening on that mountain. You know, just really zoom in at night and tell me if you get good footage or not. Well, don't tell me, I don't care. I know it's going to be shitty because I've tried. I still try today with this phone because we have interesting things that happen out here in Tucson. And a lot of the Tucsonians who live out here are very much aware of this. It's just, for one, it costs a lot to get a high definition camera. I don't care about this that much to invest like that. Because nothing comes out of this. Nothing. Yeah. Whenever we share this with people that we meet, I feel like it just turns them off from the idea of being friends with us because like, these people are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Or they did experience that and we don't want nothing to do with that. So it's not beneficial to
share this and to convince people.
The only reason why I'm making a video right now about this is because I did make a video and I just wanted to share that with people, like regular people who were on this note on TikTok, who were, you know, into this stuff. We're not going around public. We're not doing that. And that's the most.
So kind of just getting into more of the details, like, do you think that these beings that were fighting or battling were angels or demons, aliens, some kind of interdimensional being? Like, what do you think we were witnessing?
I feel like, from my perspective, the things that I had seen that night, it's been written in scripture, specifically in Judeo-Christian scriptures. You see throughout the Torah, throughout the Old Testament, references from different, I would say different UFOs, but almost like, I think there's a reference, I believe it was Ezekiel, who the prophet of Ezekiel had a vision in a desert where he had seen basically a bunch of interlocking rings that basically appeared like a white light in the sky descend, and it was doing things in the desert. I got the same exact feeling when I was looking at the stars doing that. I was thinking this is biblical. In fact, when we had initially saw the beams of brimstone come out of the hole in a mountain, which is very interesting because the hole, it was like tunneled. It was burrowed. And you could see that it was burrowed around the edge. So it goes inside and then it would cut this way. Because when the beams of fire, we watched them come out the whole time. Whenever they were coming out, you could see them walk around an edge. And you could see their body basically illuminating the cave walls. Which tells me a lot. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
That felt like in Revelation when they speak about the dragon coming out of the mountain and the mother of God comes down and crushes the serpent. I know that's a reference to, like, you know, Satan trying to kill Christ out of the womb, you know, in Egypt, but it was very similar. So in my opinion, I would say whether it felt like a very spiritual battle is what it felt like. And it felt like a spiritual battle that we read about, but we don't think is real. And we look at parts of spirituality, not even Judeo-Christian. We're talking about a lot of the Native American teachings out there. If you look into Tibetan Buddhism and you look into major religions across the world, you see that there's this talk about spirits. There's this talk about something that's happening greater than us, and there's this battle, a spiritual battle. Now, as humans, we conflate this to the ideology of just like psychology, us battling with our demons, whether it be, I'm depressed or I'm happy. We have these ideas, right, that have been conflated by science. Well, from what we witnessed, I'm starting to come to the realization, and I already had this point of view, but this is even more groundbreaking proof that this is real.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is absolutely real. These spiritual aspects that we see are real. And it is completely misunderstood. Whether it be unidentified flying objects, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, and such like that, or now it's, what is it? Unidentified
autonomous
phenomena,
because they're not always aerial. Sometimes they're in the water and things like that. So, and this is a recent government redefinition of what they're experiencing, what they have footage of,
and the government has released information basically insinuating that these are not aliens in the sense that we think they come from a different planet. They're saying that this is interdimensional, which would be closer to spirits, demons, angels, devas, jinn, stuff like that. So in my opinion, it looked like the stars that had descended onto the earth from their constellation form. They left their position in the sky. That is the first thing that my mind thought. They left their position. Almost as if they were assigned that position in the first place. As a point to like police what's happening on Earth. That's what the vibe you got immediately. I might be completely wrong. It's up to you to believe what you want to believe, but they came down and they clearly put themselves in between us and the threat, which was perceived to be the brimstone beings.
And these people were the white
stars. Those are stars came down. I'm just like, we could just say that they're stars.
And the other ones were like a reddish orange.
And I want to make it clear. They are stars. That is a fixed constellation. Constellation are fixed. Stars in the sky are fixed. That means that they are in their position. If they're moving, the way we understand physics is completely off.
Right.
100%. So I believe in the physics that we have today. It's real. But what I just witnessed made that go in the trash and just threw it away, dude. Like, it's like setting on fire with a match. So, I don't know. Is it UFOs? Is it angels? Are they the same thing? Have we been perceiving this to be two separate things when they could be the exact same thing? Who's to say? I definitely get the feeling that the other were demons or jinn. And I think demons and jinn are the same exact thing. If you understand what jinn are in Islam, it's very much like fallen angels who have ability to do whatever they want. And they are very powerful, very much like, it's literally the description of angels in Christianity and in Judaism. So, and not jinn, I'm not saying that angels are evil. I'm saying like they have autonomy to do whatever they want, to be good or bad. And in this instance, they look like the dragons were escaping. Not saying that they were dragons, but some people are very big into the ideology that this is reptilians versus Palladians, and that whole idea could be.
So to the next question, you mentioned in your video that these black SUVs were probably the Men in Black. Basically, can you expand on that? Like, or
that's an assumption.
Do you know anything that happened with the guy with the dogs? Like, did you go to check on him? Any like follow up with that specific part of the story?
Like, let's be real here. Me saying that it was the Men in Black, that's just the only reference that I have for government officials traveling at night in the desert. We all have seen the Men in Black.
And literally only saw them after this like gunshot vacuum sound. Like, and there was nobody outside, like literally, and then all of a sudden here were these SUVs.
It should be known that we have spent a lot of time in Joshua Tree as well. and nothing like this has transpired. Nothing like this. And when I say the FBI or I can't say the FBI. I don't want them on my back. the Men in Black. Okay. The Men in Black, we had never seen SUVs or anything, alluding to anything like that before. So whenever these events transpired, and these are grandeur events, this is like something that you're never going to see. Like people, I think somebody said it's like a Transformers movie. That's what it was like. Yeah. That's why it was so terrifying. When you realize, when you see something like that and you see true power in front of you, you always read about it in the Bible. People will say that they see angels or they see God, and then they fall to their knees and they start crying. Yeah. In fear. Yeah. It was like that. That's real. And I always thought, like, who would, what a pussy. Like, don't you want to stand in front of your Lord and feel strong and honor him with that power? No. You will be brought to your knees. Yeah. Because it's unfathomable. It'd be like if a 10-foot tarantula broke into your house right now and started eating your dog. You're not going to do anything. You think, I'll attack that tarantula. No, you're not, dude. I'm serious. Terrified. You're not. This is different. This is not like a perceived threat that you can defend against. And that is genetically in us, in our fight and flight response as humans. So I'm telling you, in that moment, you would have had the same exact feeling. Hopelessness. And that's what that was. Yeah. Hopelessness.
And again, with the guy with the dog.
I did not care about him. Did not care about him. I'm going to be honest with you. You hear and see the things that we saw, you don't care.
Yeah. Also, we were staying in an Airbnb, so we're not going to go knock on a neighbor's
Let's make this door. Pretty logical. Okay? If what I'm saying is true, if I believe that I saw what I saw, and we had seen what we saw, or seen, and there was aliens coming down from the mountains and stars coming down to fight them, and our neighbor we perceive to have battled with something like that in his backyard. Yeah. Why the hell would I go back to that area?
Right. Yeah, I don't want to be involved.
I just want to know who would do that. And if you would, go sign up to be in the army. Yeah. Literally, because you like to put your life in situations. Go be in the armed forces if that's how you think, because we need people like that. That's how I view that. I'm not an idiot. Yeah. I'm not saying that people are idiots who do that, but I'm just saying, like, there's moments in life where you decide what self-preservation. I have to make sure that you're safe. We have our animals. I have my friends, and I'm not going to put us in a situation to where all of us die because we want to check on the old man who's already dead, possibly. Yeah. That's some classic horror movie dipshittery.
No, really. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So next question, we had talked about the wind gusts and all of the physical things that we experienced being in this situation. So people were asking, like, wasn't there proof of damage in the morning? Like, if you didn't record all of these crazy events, like, why didn't you record or have footage of this physical damage from the trees and whatnot?
The desert is built for high winds.
Yes.
Straight up. It's built for that. Every day it gets waxed by like 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. So like, I don't know if anybody knows this, but palm trees are highly wind resistant, meaning as whenever gusts of winds do happen, they are flexible and they will bend very much. It doesn't mean the tree's coming down. So what we were referencing was the fact that with each gust of wind that was happening with each impact, because you could physically see the impact and then the gust was coming, like literally delayed 3 seconds later because it had to travel. Everything in the desert is built for wind resistance. Anybody with a brain would know that. Yeah. As far as our neighbor's rickety ass like rooftop and stuff like that, they need to get that fixed. Yeah. It's damaged. So as far as that goes, I can tell you that it's just a matter of there were no trees and that would, bust like that. There were, palm leaves were all over the floor. So yeah, there was, it was dirty in that sense, but that's pretty normal for the desert that deals with monsoons, which has even more powerful gusts of wind than what we were experiencing in that moment. So for people who live in the city, who haven't experienced rain, who haven't experienced storms or anything like that, you would not be educated on this topic, and I don't expect you to be.
Yeah, it wasn't like a crazy, like natural disaster. It was just, desert weather.
And for those who don't know, in 29 Palms, there's a military base there. So they're constantly doing their own drills and other stuff like that. And they choose the desert for these reasons. Less impact on the earth, less damage.
Yeah.
So that's as simple as that. We did go out to that mountain range, or we tried to go to that mountain range. I think we got about 10 miles to the base of the mountain range, and we realized there is nothing out here. It's literally 20 miles of pure desert. There's nothingness. There's not even trash.
Yeah.
There's
just
nothing.
Sand. No roads. Yeah, nothing. Just a vacant desert.
Mm-hmm. And the mountain in itself, the mountain range, people saying a mountain like it was an individual one mountain, but it was a range, was inaccessible by humans. There were no trails. There was no service roads. It was very much vertical, 90-degree invert. And it was very much like this, like, could you climb up this and hike up this or bring a vehicle up there? No, you could not. Yeah. Unless you were crazy, like those Jeep dudes.
But not even.
But, well, here's the thing. This is why we come back to it. Scale. So if we're scaling the size of if this is, you know, the mountain range, and this is where the hole protruded out. Let's take this. In scale to this mountain is how tall the beams were, or I'd say maybe a little bit smaller, like that. We're coming out of this hole, out of this mountain range, which was around like 1,000-foot elevation, I believe. We looked it up. Mm-hmm. How tall were these beings?
Right.
Giants, and they were leaping like fucking children from, like they're having fun, leaping from rock to rock. And I'm talking about things that humans couldn't do. Very much like Transformer shit. Very much like Goku stuff. You see this in anime, and you're like, that'd be cool if I could fucking jump across a mountain range to the other one. They can do that. And that's when you're like, oh. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
We are worthless. We have no power. And if there is a supreme intelligence that is like that is opposing us, oh my God, we're done.
Yeah.
That's basically there's no technology we have.
Yeah, to combat that.
No. Hell no.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that what we saw happened because like Joshua Tree is a vortex? Do you think it was just like a desert thing? Do you think the military had anything to do with it? Like, is this something that could happen somewhere else, or is Joshua Tree special? Or 29 Palms?
So I'll comment on Joshua Tree first, and then I'll bring the military up after. So in particular with Joshua Tree, we've gone out there multiple times. And we have experienced our own experiences with seeing like orbs and seeing unidentified objects, spirits, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I think Joshua Tree in general it's a very interesting land. Mm-hmm. People call it a vortex. Mm-hmm. That could be a new age term. That could be the wrong terminology. You know, it's what it's describing is an area in which it's supposedly aligned with different ley lines, stuff like that, which bring out a high energy, a high mana, which can result in paranormal activity. Mm-hmm. That place definitely has that. Whether that's because of the ley lines or whether that be because of the tribes that lived there before. I know my ancestral tribes used to roam through that area. There's a lot of stories about the Star People. That's not the term. I'm just using that so we can understand it in this language. But there are stories of the Holy People and the Star People and some of the battles that have transpired. And for me, that land has always been special. Oh, yeah. And it's also 29 Palms. It's not just Joshua Tree, because Joshua Tree makes up for the park and that whole area. That land was actually called the Mecca. Mm-hmm. It was considered the Mecca for my people. So they would travel there, and it was considered the Holy Land, very sacred spot. So one of the things that I myself had come to a conclusion of, I don't think time happens there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we experience time linearly, like very straight, going in a line forever. Mm-hmm. But there, it wraps around, and you feel that. Yeah. I don't know how to describe it. That might be the wrong way of saying it.
No, that's what I was gonna say. You can feel the like energy of
You feel like
this, like, I don't know, it's
the beginning. I don't know how
yeah.
to describe it.
It's a very interesting energy because
And it's different from Sedona.
Yeah,
It's different
that's what I was gonna
from Mount Shasta. In my opinion, I like Joshua Tree way more. It's just, I don't know. There's some, it's like the dimensions of time and reality are folded on top of each other there rather than being laid flat on a plane. And that is where it gets, that's why I feel like different things happen there, maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Could be, you know, the whole thing with the government talking about interdimensional beings and stuff like that. Maybe that is a spot where you can go in between other worlds. There are certain rocks to where if you put your hands on it and you place your head, you can literally enter another dimension. And there's been instances where people have disappeared into what you would call a vortex or an opening or a portal or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's the terminology that we use. It could be a completely different name. Who cares? It's happening. And there's been experiences of people who've basically come back and have sacred knowledge or stuff like that. And in the different tribes, those are shamans. Those are what we call them shamans now, but those are sacred teachers, you know? So maybe it is something like that. As far as the government goes, 29 Palms, there's stuff going down. There's stuff going down out there.
Yeah.
I feel like the citizens who live there are scared into not saying anything.
Yeah.
Or they don't want to say anything because they're afraid of the judgment that will come with it. But everybody that is out there is subjugated to this.
Yeah.
Whether it be alien or whether it be the government. If this is the government, the way that this technology was being used, if this was the government, I would say that the fire beings, the beings of fire and brimstone, are not the government. And that the stars that were in that constellation locked in the sky is the government. And it was,
or some kind of like protective, like.
well, there's two things. There is a moment. So we did have a moment on the first night that made me not believe that this wasn't a human interaction, as far as like two humans or like, you know, UFO with a human inside of it or an alien. And this one made me think it was a spirit. We had a moment to where we were all inside in Alexis and Long's room looking at the mountain because they had a good view from their room.
Their room was facing.
They had a great window. And we're all like fucking bundled up, like scared shitless, shaking, looking out the window. And the star beings, is what we could say, the stars, came close to us in proximity. So rather than being, 20 to 30 miles out in that desert, one of the beings landed on a rooftop, like maybe 2 or 3 houses or doors down in front of us. So we could see it, landed on the rooftop. In one of the instances, that being flew towards us. And I remember I looked with my eyes and I saw it touched her nose. Like it was a woman, like whimsical air spirit. You could see her like face, like a very pointed nose. And she had like, I don't know, like if you were drawing a white wind spirit or something like that, is what it looked like. And it just tapped her nose and then disappeared. And I remember like, whoa, like I was like,
you were like,
whoa.
So in disbelief, you were like,
because she was right next to me.
See that?
It just happened. So I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
That right there in that moment, if as humans, we have technology to do that, there are so many things we don't know.
Right.
They're at a level of understanding. We would be comparable to ants against an advanced human civilization. If our government has that much data and technology to do stuff like that, we got a bigger problem. Literally, we would have a bigger problem than even demons.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. But yeah.
I'm not even like. It's
jury is still out on what
that was.
Yeah.
I think it was angels.
The whole everything of what truthfully, like scientifically, maybe interdimensionally.
I think it's interdimensional beings. In my honest opinion, it's interdimensional beings. I think, like I said, when you look into the different tribes out there and the things that they describe, people brought up the Yucca Man.
Yes.
These are real things.
Yeah.
These, people don't understand.
Yeah, stuff in Joshua
animism.
Tree, Yucca, 29 Palms, like you were saying, the people who live there, they've seen it. They have their own experiences. And like we were saying, when they talk about it, people don't believe
They write
them.
it off. They think it's a joke.
They think they're weird, like they just don't really even care to hear it. So it's gotten to a point where like they just don't even talk about it because what's the point? You're not going to believe it until you experience it. And it's happening because there are multiple people out here, saying their own experiences that they've had.
Yeah.
So.
And, like I said, you can experience the same thing. I would say weirder shit happens in 29 Palms.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because everybody's in Joshua Tree expecting it to happen there. If you go to 29 Palms and you go towards the other entrance, where we were at, which is Utah Trail, you will see...
Yeah, different things.
Yeah. And I mean, one time we got a ranch out there. We Airbnb'd a ranch in 29 Palms, and it was in the desert, like out there.
Yeah.
That
was eerie.
Bruh, like.
Yeah, the energy in 29 Palms is like heavy. Like, it's just like we were saying earlier, like you can feel this like spiritual dimensional energy out there. And then as soon as it gets like night, like 10, 11, midnight, stuff starts happening because every time we've gone out there, we've experienced some kind of activity in the desert. And then again, as soon as the sun comes up,
and it's the desert specifically, because even out here in Tucson, weird things happen at night.
Yeah.
So I think this energy, it happens to be with the desert. I think there's references even in the Bible. I mean, Christ went out to the desert for 40 days or 40 nights, specifically the desert. And there he was tempted by Satan. Satan means the enemy. Doesn't mean literally the devil. It could have been anybody. But in this reference, we know it was the devil because he was given dominion over the earth, right? So because of that, we know there are spirits out there, and so much so that the devil can even be present in, the desert to tempt you with certain things. So with what we were seeing, whether it be jinn, demons, angels, or whatever it may be, I can tell you, we've been to many mountain ranges, we've been to many lakes, we've been to different places, and there has not been a place like the desert when it comes to paranormal activity.
Yeah.
Well, unless you want to go to Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is another place. I think we'll do another video talking about Mount Shasta. Basically, if you saw Emily doing her little thing right there, like you guys can't see that. I would say, Mount Shasta is, wow. It's not as crazy as Joshua Tree.
Yeah,
it is more
that's
spiritual.
That's a good story.
Yeah, I would say it's a haven over there.
Yeah, definitely. And that's more positive, like overall positive energy. You can again feel the like spiritual energy. But so let's wrap up. We did do all of the questions. The last question / comment on this video that was repeated many, many times was a couple of variations of the same thing, but Post Malone looks different. Is this Jon Snow? I didn't know Jon Snow was going to be the guy telling us about aliens and like basically argue the love child of Post Malone and Jon Snow. So any comments or reply to those questions?
I am Post Malone. I basically put on fake tattoos on my face.
Oh my God.
Go into the public. I cut my hair and then miraculously grow it back. So you got me. And sometimes I'll sub in for Jon Snow. You know what I'm saying? You'll see it. Watch. When you go back to like season 3, episode 5, I'm actually in it. You'll see me.
There you go. All right. Any final words?
No, but I'm joking. I'm not, obviously. People have compared me to both Jon Snow and Post Malone. When I'm carrying more weight, I look like Post Malone. When I'm a little bit thinner, I look like Jon Snow. There's been instances where the cops have pulled me over. Or not pulled me over. I was outside smoking a blunt like an idiot with my homie. And the cop came up to us and saw the whole thing going down and then saw who I was and thought, he assumed I was Post Malone. He thanked me for my music and my contribution to society and then literally drove away. Plane, I think it was... You think you're better now, better now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was that track. I think it was like his second album had dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So I love Post Malone. He makes great music. I love Jon Snow, great actor. So it's a compliment.
There you go.
Shablam.
Any final words?
Final words. What we had seen is real, and I don't care if you believe us or not. When it comes to us being inebriated the first night, it was as much as us having a conversation right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever smoked weed does not make you hallucinate unless you're a special case. I think there are like out of like 10 people, I think 2 people might hallucinate.
Mm-hmm.
You will not see aliens. I fucking promise you will not see aliens. It's just not how it works.
And 4 people wouldn't be seeing the same thing.
And one of our friends was sober.
Witnessing the same thing.
One of our friends was sober, and the other 2 nights we were completely sober and had witnessed the exact same event. So, yeah, it was cool after the fact. Now that we can talk about it and, know that we survived and that the world isn't coming to an end. It makes you wonder if we were observing a mechanism that happens in nature. Mm-hmm. And maybe that is why the government is out there. Like they have the military base there and they've observed this themselves and they're studying it. That could be something. Who's to say? Who's to say? So for me, I would like to say that I like the fact that the story got out so people know the truth in a sense that there are people who will understand, they will hear this and they will go see for themselves.
Yeah.
That this place isn't as boring as we think it is. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying the world's boring without aliens or anything like that, but it's even crazier than we perceive.
Yeah.
And that's what I got to say.
There you go. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
For the next episode, Manny.